All they do is attack us. This is an attacking dispute from the government, and we are defending our position in our industry. And many unions have not settled. The nurses haven't settled for 5%. The teachers haven't settled for 5%.
Well, only half of rail services will run today as train guards and station staff are striking. More trains are going to be cancelled tomorrow when fans travelling to the FA Cup final, Epsom Derby and Lords for the cricket will see their railways disrupted by industrial action. Let's find out more. We can go live, as we've just heard there, from behind the picket line. Standing there for us is Mick Lynch, General Secretary of the RMT. Mick, good morning.
Good morning.
Look, the government are going to say, and they have said, we've given you a fair and reasonable offer. Why won't you allow your members to have a vote on it?
Our members have voted on it. They've just come out of a statutory ballot. We sent that offer to every single one of our 21,000 members that are in the dispute. They read it, they consumed it, they discussed it in their branches, and they voted 9-1 in favour of, for the third time, of continuing this strike action. And they're out today on these picket lines all over Britain in support of the union stance and their decision to continue with our industrial action campaign. They've had a vote, they've had 3 votes over the past year in line with the government's own legislation.
I think the reality, though, is that you're saying this industrial action continues. This is the 29th day that there's been disruption on the rail services. The strike action has been going on for a year. Why is it that you seem absolutely determined on continuing it, potentially at any cost? Other unions that have been going through similar processes to you have looked at offers, they've given it out to their members and said, OK, 5%, we'll accept that. You almost seem determined to let this continue.
I'm not determined to continue it at all. I want a settlement, and I'll take a settlement today if I could get one. But the fact is, it's a rubbish offer in terms of the money that it's pitched at. We have not had a pay rise for 4 years. 5% over 4 years, when inflation in that period has been probably 25%. And working class inflation is even higher when you consider food bills and utilities and all the rest of it. It's a poor offer. But it's not all about pay. It's about the fact that they want to rip up our terms and conditions. They want to get rid of thousands of our people. They want to shut all of the ticket offices in Britain. They want to de-staff our stations, cut catering, cut engineering services, and change the railways in a detrimental way over the long term. So this isn't a pay deal. It's not even a pay dispute. It's about jobs, pay, and our members' terms and conditions. And all they do is attack us. This is an attacking dispute from the government, and we are defending our position in our industry. And many unions have not settled. The nurses haven't settled for 5%. The teachers haven't settled for 5%. And in fact, we're doing deals every day outside where the Tory party runs the show at much better pay deals than this. We've got deals from the private sector operators, from our bus companies, from the infrastructure companies that are far superior to this. We're a reasonable union and we'll listen to any reasonable proposals, but we simply haven't got a reasonable proposal at the moment.
The government will say, look, you've gone out of your way to make life difficult for thousands. Thousands of us actually are just getting used to the fact that we can't rely on the rail services. And other unions, you've mentioned some that haven't, but other unions have accepted 5%. And I give you the view of Rod, who's messaged into Times Radio this morning, who says, do you not feel an obligation to prevent the price-wage spiral which trashed us in the 70s? The government say we cannot afford the pay demands that you're asking for, so we won't give them to you.
Well, that's nonsense. I mean, what the government has done in this dispute has given the private sector operators £900 million to face down this dispute. So that would have settled the dispute anyway if they hadn't bothered to go into that dispute. So there's plenty of money. They've allowed the private sector operators to take £160 million out in dividends, and the rolling stock leasing companies take hundreds of millions of pounds out of the railway every year. So while they're claiming there's no money, they allow the private sector operators to extract more than enough money to settle this dispute.
What would settle it for you, Mick? What would it settle it for you?
The other unions that you asked a long question. The other unions that you're referencing have all had pay deals over the last 3 or 4 years. Our members have had nothing for 4 years, and 5% doesn't cut the mustard. The government can afford a settlement, they just don't want to provide one for a dogmatic reason that they want to make working class people poorer and they want to make people that are extracting dividends richer, and that's what's going on. All of the bosses that I face are on in excess of £500,000 a year and have had salary increases in some cases of up to 50%. So we've got a completely corrupt railway. What would settle it is a square deal where we get job security, we deal with modernisation through agreement, not imposition, and we get a decent pay rise. That's all we're looking for.
Mick Lynch, thank you very much for your time. RMT General Secretary.